She was the powerful CEO of a company she built from the ground up. Yet, on the day of an important board meeting, she was treated as if she didn't even belong. Security ignored her title, questioned her presence, and forced her to wait in the lobby of her own empire. The humiliation stung, but what came next would shake the entire boardroom to its core. How could a woman with so much authority be reduced to nothing in her own space? And what would she do about it? Before the confrontation that would make headlines, she was simply a woman who had worked tirelessly for years to get where she was. Born into a modest family, she had fought through the doubts, the stereotypes, and the glass ceilings that so often held women, and especially Black women, back. With a degree in finance and a reputation for being both brilliant and relentless, she had built her company from a small startup in a cramped office into a thriving corporation that employed hundreds. Her mornings usually started before sunrise, not because she had to, but because she wanted to. She believed discipline was the fuel of success. By the time most people were sipping their first cup of coffee, she had already answered emails, reviewed reports, and prepared strategies for the day. To her employees, she wasn't just a boss, she was an inspiration. She was living proof that hard work and vision could break through barriers. But behind her calm smile, there was a quiet awareness. No matter how much she achieved, there were always those waiting to remind her of the color of her skin. That awareness became reality on the morning of a board meeting that was supposed to mark a new milestone for her company. What began as a routine day of preparation would soon descend into a moment of humiliation she could never have predicted. The question wasn't whether she was capable. The question was whether the world was ready to respect her authority. And in just a few minutes, that ugly truth was about to be tested. The morning of the board meeting was supposed to be routine, another step forward in the company's expansion. She arrived at the towering glass building she owned, briefcase in hand, her mind already running through the agenda. But as she approached the entrance, her path was suddenly blocked. A security guard, tall and broad-shouldered in a dark uniform, raised a hand and asked her to stop. At first, she thought it was a mistake. Perhaps he was new, unaware of who she was. Calmly, she explained that she was the CEO and had a board meeting to attend. His eyes narrowed, scanning her from head to toe, as though her words carried no weight. Instead of stepping aside, he pointed toward the lobby chairs and told her she'd need to wait for approval. Confusion turned into humiliation. Employees entering the building slowed their pace, whispering among themselves. Some even raised their phones, capturing the sight of a Black woman, their CEO, being told she didn't belong. Every second stretched like an eternity, her authority chipped away in front of the very people she had worked to inspire. She tried again, firm but respectful, repeating her name and position. The guard's expression hardened. His hand rested on the radio clipped to his belt, as if ready to escalate the situation. That simple gesture carried a chilling message. You don't have power here. Minutes ticked by. The lobby, once just a space of polished marble and glass, now felt like a stage. Her humiliation was public, her dignity questioned. Yet deep down, anger burned brighter than shame. This wasn't just about her. It was about every barrier, every assumption, every shadow of doubt she had faced her entire career. And then came the breaking point. A member of the board walked in, glanced at the scene, and without hesitation walked past her as though she were invisible. Not a word of support, not a nod of recognition. The guard didn't even stop him. That moment confirmed what she had always known but tried to ignore. Some people would never see her as the authority she was. But if they thought humiliation would silence her, they were wrong. This injustice wasn't the end of her story. It was the spark of something far more powerful.
The silence in the lobby felt heavier than the polished stone beneath her heels. She had been left waiting, ignored, humiliated, and treated as if she were an intruder in the empire she had built. Every whisper from passing employees echoed louder in her ears. Every glance at their phones reminded her that this humiliation was now on display for the world to see. And then it happened. The security guard finally received a call through his earpiece. His posture shifted, but instead of an apology, his tone dripped with condescension. "You can go up now." As if he were granting permission, as if she needed his approval to enter her own building. Her pulse quickened, but not with fear, with fury. She walked past him, heels clicking against the marble floor like a drumbeat of defiance. Every step toward the boardroom was charged with a new kind of power, the kind born from indignation and resolve. When she entered the boardroom, the sight stopped her cold. The same men who had silently walked past her earlier were seated, relaxed, and waiting as though nothing had happened. Their eyes flicked up, some offering forced smiles, others pretending not to notice the storm written on her face. To them, her silence would mean acceptance. To them, this was just another day of business. But this was no ordinary day. She had been tested, disrespected, and dismissed. And now, standing at the head of the long, gleaming table, she realized something. This wasn't humiliation. It was opportunity. An opportunity to make sure they never forgot who she was and what she represented. Her voice finally broke the silence. The words she was about to speak would change everything.
The silence in the boardroom shattered the moment she spoke. Her voice was steady, sharp, and filled with the weight of every injustice she had endured. She reminded them that while they had dismissed her in the lobby, it was her vision that had built the company, her leadership that had turned their paychecks into reality, and her name that carried the authority they had chosen to ignore. Then came the decision no one expected. With the stroke of a pen and the full weight of her authority, she fired the very board members who had watched her humiliation unfold without a word. Their silence had spoken louder than any insult. Their complacency had been complicity. And in that moment, she reclaimed not just her dignity, but the respect she was long overdue. But this story isn't just about one CEO in one boardroom. It's about the daily battles so many face in spaces where they should belong, yet are treated as outsiders. It's about the exhausting truth that no matter how high you climb, racism finds new ways to remind you that you are not fully accepted. Her act of defiance sent ripples far beyond the walls of that office. It was a reminder that silence in the face of injustice is a choice, and that power, when used with courage, can dismantle even the most insidious forms of discrimination. And so we are left with a question. How many brilliant leaders, creators, and innovators are being silenced right now because of the color of their skin? And when the next moment of injustice unfolds, will we stand silently on the sidelines, or will we finally choose to act?